Hola and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the León Cupra Eurocup Online. Today we can finally welcome you to the track of Catalonia. So we're in Barcelona. It's a hot, sticky track, tarmac, and of course a lot of racing action. My name is Rene Girona Butler, and today I'm joined in the commentary booth by no one less than Lee Demonsmith. Hey Lee.
Thank you very much. Hello. Yes, welcome. Hopefully we're going to get things underway in just a few moments. Obviously qualifying sessions to begin, and then straight into the race. It's going to be. I'm pretty excited to see how this is going to go, Rene.
Yeah, I mean, we had a bit of a struggle at the start. You know, technical problems can always occur, and this is the first race of the new season. If you remember season 1, I casted it back then already together with Ellie, and this time it's Demon joining me, someone that has a lot of experience when it comes to casting and also is a damn racing fan. So I know that, worked with him already. So it's great to have you here, and when I look at the list of drivers for today, of course I find some names that, yeah, ring a bell from season 1, but damn, those times we saw so far look like we have a really good race on our hands.
Yeah, I'm interested to see who's going to actually come out. Are we going to see the old champion, which I'm going to try and pronounce his name, Krzyzewski? I'm going to get it wrong completely. I know my English tongue doesn't handle these sort of Polish names. I've always butchered pronunciations.
That's right, but yeah, of course, we have Krzyzewski, who is the reigning champion of Season 1. We have Nikodem Wisniewski, who is with us in the final for Season 1. We have Balesta, Miguel Balesta. Someone I... What?
Well, that's a good job, because my game crashed completely, so I can't do anything. It's literally hung my PC.
What,
again.
For real?
Yeah, it did it. As soon as we went live, boom, it hung.
This system is not really working, guys.
But I blagged it pretty well, because I couldn't see a damn thing. And I was just like, Wisniewski's the only guy name I remember right now.
Yeah, I remember that on Forza when we were talking about, like, who was your favorite driver, and you like, totally, I lost every name of the race, and like, who was in that
I can't
race?
actually do anything with my left screen right now. It's completely locked it. So I'm going to have to reboot. It's totally locked. Literally the second we started, it went and completely crashed. I need to reboot again somehow, but I can't actually get to it.
User disconnected from your channel.
Hola and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the León Cupra Eurocup online. Today, for the first race of Season 2, we're here in Catalunya, the beautiful Barcelona. And me, I'm Rene G-Runner Butler, your host for today. And with me in the commentator's booth is the one and only Lee Demonsmith. Hey Lee, welcome to the racetrack.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it's good to hear. Obviously, Catalunya today. I loved your Spanish intro, by the way. The hola, that's about all you're throwing out there. I could probably say cerveza, por favor. That's probably about the extent of my Spanish as well. Can I have a beer? But we are about to go live, Rene. So let's get the race on the go, as it is Balestra, who obviously set a blistering pace in the qualifying. Half a second ahead of everyone, is going to lead himself straight to the first corner, no problem.
Yeah, I mean, this is just a rolling lap. We know that we do one warm-up lap before we start into the race. So hopefully you're still in the lead. It will be weird to just lose the position right on lap number 1. But due to technical problems, unfortunately, we lost qualification, so we didn't saw that. Of course, León Eurocup Online, once again, this is Season 2. Season 1 was won by the guy on second position right now. That's Christian Kwiatniewski. Not an easy name at all for any one of us. But he won Season 1, and all the guys around him, Balestra, Borges, Lopez, they have been there last time as well. So this looks like a proper race grid here for Catalunya for the race in Barcelona. 20 minutes of qualifying happened already. So Balestra on top, Kwiatniewski, Borges, Lopez, and then Nikodem Wisniewski, another top driver from Season 1. Those are your top 5. To just quickly dive into the format before Demon will take us on the track for all the action happening with the start. 20 minutes of qualifying, 25 minutes, around 25 minutes of racing for a semi-final. Top 15 go through to the final tomorrow. That will start at 5 p.m. CEST. And the second semi-final, so another group of semi-finalists, will start at, I think, around 4 p.m. if I'm not mistaken right now. Pretty sure you will get an overlay for that. Otherwise, check the Cloud Sport page. And there you see the second group heading up today. So 7 races all over the season. It's always the same. There's a leaderboard qualification. Then there are the 2 semi-final groups. And the top 30 will race tomorrow in the final.
Yeah, and just to give you a heads up of the race pace, obviously it was a 1:48.3 set by Balestra. A blistering pace, like I say, half a second ahead of pretty much the competition. So hot favourite as they line themselves up and get ready to go. But yeah, Kwiatniewski, I'm gonna butcher his name, no doubt, a bunch of times in there. Definitely the one to watch alongside him. Obviously, put in a decent performance. Was probably quite ahead. João Borges, quite an impressive time actually. I think only a 100th of a second behind Kwiatniewski. So we're gonna keep our eye on him, especially at the start.
Yeah, we all know like Balestra was dominating season number 1 on the semi-finals. Of course, he wasn't the winner. But all the races I casted, at least, he was basically always on top, never went off the first position. But Kwiatniewski, Borges, they will definitely try to stop him early. And it seems like we will have the lights on pretty soon. I can see everyone on the starting grid. I see that Wisniewski actually went over the line a bit. I can see that on my camera. You might miss it in the TV cam. But when we look out of the commentary booth here, I can see that Wisniewski clearly tried to get a bit of an advantage there, but lights are off, and there we go.
That's a great start as well. Balestra's going to go defensive instantly from the start. Christian is going to try and power past him. He's going to have the better line going into the inside corner. And keep your eye on João Borges, and more importantly, the 2 behind him, because there's a right battle coming in here, coming into this first corner. Miguel's got himself tucked in behind Kwiatniewski. He's going to hold his position, but flinging it up the inside was Pablo Lopez, flinging it through. He's going to try and cut in on João. I don't think he'd be able to hold the line out. So a really interesting start, and a great start, more importantly, Rene, for Kwiatniewski.
Yeah, the favorite amongst all those drivers overtook Balestra right away. I mean, that sector 1 even. Balestra wasn't close to defend the line, but it seems like his start was really slow. We know these are front-wheel driven León Cupra Cup cars, like the Eurocup cars. So more than 300 horsepower on the front axle. It seems like that might have been a bit too much when he revved up the engine on the start.
Yeah, Balestra is right up behind him, though. He's going to have to defend this pretty much the entire race. It's going to be a hard-fought battle for him. As I say, there was a half a second difference in qualifying time. So Balestra definitely a much quicker driver. We'll see whether he can handle it. Of course, he is the former champion, Krivsniewski, of last season, so certainly has the experience to be able to hold this battle off, and it's definitely a battle between these two. They're already starting to set a little bit of a gap. Borges still up behind him. Lopez putting a challenge in on him. Just having a spin further down the field to see if there's a great deal of action. Obviously, we're focusing on this front challenge. There has been a bunch of position changes, so we'll try and have a look at those as and when they come. But it's all about Balestra right now. He is absolutely all over the rear wing of Krivsniewski.
Yeah, and we see Lopez currently looking at the back of Borges. Borges going over the curb. I don't know if you saw that in your perspective, but oh dear, he went onto two wheels, lost the position to Lopez. Lopez trying to get an advantage right away. Borges now part of the exhaust system of Lopez, more or less, going down start-finish straight. That mistake in the last chicane, we know that it's Catalunya. That last chicane is crucial, and it was costing Lopez on Borges the position right away here on lap number 2.
Yeah, and Wisniewski's right up behind him as well. He's getting a look in on Borges as well. Might be calculate a move here, see if he can compound that error. Balestra's looking to go and try and go on the outside, trying to force Wisniewski to try and go defensive so he could maybe sling it on the inside. You could see Wisniewski not having any of it there, just trying to hold his line, keep his line perfectly. Spinning back to Lopez. He's got himself some ground now, hasn't he, over Borges? So he's managed to build up a bit of a lead, while Wisniewski, he looks to try to challenge it. Borges is, I'd say, a little flustered after that move at the end of the first lap.
I just hope it doesn't have a huge impact on his flow right now. We all know that racing is about being in the zone, like floating through the track, but that was a massive, massive error there he did in the chicane. He went clearly onto two wheels, nearly flipped that beautiful Seat. I'm sure the Seat guys in his team won't be happy about that, and he loses time onto Lopez. We don't know if that might put a bit of damage on his car.
Cut inside. Balestra's just cut inside. He's put a move in. He's put a move in on Christian. He's going to be able to hold it, though. That's the question. He's going to have the outside line here. I don't know whether he's going to have to. He did a beautiful little undercut. Yeah, he doesn't quite have it because he knows it's going to be another outside corner. He can't hold the position here as he tries to cut around, and Christian holds a good defensive line there. He knew he was going to lose out on that corner, but he's just made a bit of an error on that chicane. Is he going to be able to get the inside line? He should be okay. Balestra, though, putting still loads of pressure on you. Sorry to cut across you there, Ronnie.
No problem. I mean, there's a lot of racing action going on, and still Balestra looking on to Kwiatkowski. Of course, he wants to get back his position. He was qualified as the fastest driver. You see the #1 on his car, while Kwiatkowski has the #4. But yeah, right now, Kwiatkowski is on DEFCON 5, more or less, sliding through turn 1 there, nearly losing the rear ends. Once again, Balestra being on them, but look at how much of a gap they created already. That's over a second between them and place 3 and 4.
He has been within a millimeter of his bumper for the entire race so far.
Yeah, Kwiatkowski might be sweating soon if he isn't right now. I mean, they're only on lap 2, and he did more defense moves than Balestra did in the whole of season 1. We see them sliding a bit once again, and just to remind you guys out there, tire wear is an issue with these cars on this track. So in the later half of the race, it will be crucial how you manage your tires and your car on the first part. Kwiatkowski, we saw him there going a bit wide. Balestra had the better line, but still there's no way around Kwiatkowski. We know that it's one thing to close the gap. It's a total different story to finally overtake someone.
Yeah, he's holding the line very defensively, not blocking too much, just sticking to his line, staying to it, and forcing Balestra to really try and sling it up either the inside, the outside. He's tried, obviously, the outside already, and it didn't quite hold out. And now he's actually bought himself, for once, a little gap as they come into the start-finish straight here, going into lap number 3.
What surprises me really is that Balestra and Kwiatkowski are able to create a gap while Kwiatkowski is definitely on the defensive line.
Yeah, I mean, it's a 2-second gap now. It's not even a small gap. 2 seconds within 3 laps, that is a massive gap to start stretching out there already. So Lopez obviously put a great move in on Borges. That has pretty much held steady since that happened. And I'm looking down the field. You can see it's starting to stretch out rather dramatically with Cavero at the back. 22 seconds off the pace now of Krzyzewski. But, you know, Balestra 0.2 seconds behind him. It tells the difference. I mean, you can see what's going on right now on your screen. This is the battle, obviously, that's going to happen throughout this race. This is actually some pretty impressive racing between these two guys.
Yeah, we see Ballesta going sideways more and more. Seems like rear tires might be overheated already, but it's the same for Kwiatkowski. He has to put his car every time on the apex, like straight into the corner just to block off Ballesta. I mean, he still has that good entry. You see that he's coming from the outside into the turn, but he tries to stick so hard to the curb on the inside to give no room for Ballesta to make any move there.
Yeah, he just tried to go inside, but like you say, he was just holding perfect angle that he couldn't get past it, sticking on that racing line. But Ballesta really starting to get a little bit more, like you say, a little bit more dramatic. There's a lot more locking of the brakes coming in here. They're starting to slide a little more, so we might see some sort of action. Ballesta again, trying to hold. He has the better line, but Kwiatkowski just cuts across perfectly on his own line and holds the ground. So they are starting to stretch further and further. Like I say, 3 seconds now over Borja. Lopez 2.3 seconds behind. So it's really going well. Miguel actually might try and throw it up the inside here. Had a little look. Tried to force Christian to go defensive. And again, has to go hard on the brakes at the end of the straight.
Yeah, it's still that fight of big names here in front. Let's have a quick look through the field. I mean, Pablo Lopez, he's still on third. Then it's Borges. Really good drive of Season 1. What surprised me a bit is that Wisniewski and Nikodem is still on 5th position. But if I remember correctly, he was really good when, like, how he managed the tires in Season 1. So, second race half might be the better option for him. Just try to secure his tires, try to limit tire wear a bit, and then attack. But we talk about 4 seconds already to the top guy.
Yeah, these are big gaps. And Wisniewski's not a bad driver back there in 5th, is he? This is pretty impressive stuff from these two. Like you say, the fact that they've been battling the whole time as well. I mean, Ballesta's not let up. He is all over the backside. So Christian, all credit to him, 4 laps in for holding it, but he's finally lost it. It's the same position again. Now the question is, Ballesta's going to have the outside line again on this corner, so he's not going to be able to. Is he going to try and cut inside as Krzyzniak tries to go defensive? He is. He tried, and Krzyzniak has gone a bit too defensive. Can't quite get his front end in, though, before the chicane, can he? And Krzyzniak once again holds on. Christian's doing a fantastic job of defensive driving here.
Yeah, I see the problem. I mean, not the problem. We want to see those fights, but we talk about León, Seat León Cupra Eurocup car. So everyone's on the same car. Everyone's around 130 horsepower, and going uphill there, even if Ballesta gets a line to cut across, there's not enough torque on that car, not enough push to go uphill and overtake Kwiatkowski, even if he had to take the tighter line.
He is still all over the back of him. Lopez has actually managed to hold steady at the 3-second gap, so he's keeping up with him. So this defensive battle is starting to cost them a little bit of time, I feel. We've got Borja still back there, Wisniewski, still everybody holding the ground further down the field, and nobody too close together. I can see that...
Look at the back. Look, Roberto Gonzalez now making the move onto Carlos Marzo. That was position 14 and 15. Gonzalez now up to 14 after he overtook Marzo in a pretty impressive maneuver with sliding a bit through chicane.
You missed it! You missed it! You missed it! Ballesta is past. He managed to sneak on past while that was happening. There was literally a taking over maneuver there at the back of the field. There's another one as well going on. I can see further back. But yeah, Ballesta has finally managed to get past. It took him 5 laps, in fairness. But I feel he's going to... I think he's going to stretch away now.
Yeah, I guess we will get a quick look at the replay here of the maneuver between Ballesta and Kwiatkowski, because of that's important. I mean, those guys were fighting all over the place, and now finally Ballesta made that move stick, made it onto the first position, so you should see that on your screens. But can Kwiatkowski get onto him? I mean, there's a bit of a gap already. It's half a second now. And I'm not sure if he was really aware of all his tire wear. We're on lap 5 out of 12. So at one point, let's say around lap 8, tire wear normally should kick in. But if he was going over the top already, then he might be in problems.
Borges is closing ground back on Lopez. 3.6 seconds behind. So he has a decent gap, even if that tire wear's bad. He still has a pretty decent gap to keep it covered. Looking towards Carlos, who's closing on Wisniewski. He's been slowly but surely closing ground, but hasn't able to get in there. But there's a really big gap. There's a 3-second gap between 6th and 7th now starting to develop. So the rest of the pack after 6th is starting to really fall behind these leading chargers.
Unfortunately, I just heard from that you didn't saw the replay. It's a bit of a shame, but currently we have Polenko trying to get on top of Lopez. That's David Lopez, so it's not Pablo Lopez. It's position 12 and 13, with Polenko being a bit late on the brakes. His beautiful blue, I have to say that, on that León Eurocup car. He went a bit wide on the braking, bit of smoke there. Looked like he's a big fan of vaping. But he tries to stick Lopez, and of course he wants to get that pass. But once again, top 15 will actually qualify, so you shouldn't take too much risk, because if one of them takes you out, or you take yourself out, you're done. You're not going through to the final tomorrow.
Yeah, Borges in 4th place has closed on Lopez a fair amount. Obviously, Lopez took him for that place on the 3rd lap, I believe it was, wasn't it? Where he managed to get in there. And already, look at the gap, though. Look at the gap that Ballester has built up. 1.4 seconds already in 1 lap. That is enormous, starting to stretch ahead of Wisniewski. So he's starting to fall behind. But it's actually keeping steady with Lopez. Lopez 3-second gap behind him. And Wisniewski just seeing what he's doing. Carlos is actually right over the back of him now. So Wisniewski back in 5th. 6th place is closing in. Carlos has been trying to breathe down his throat for the whole time. It's the battle between 3rd and 4th and 5th and 6th really that's interesting me now.
Yeah, Carlos is getting back to Wisniewski here. He's definitely became a bit faster throughout the last laps, but it's also Borges who managed to close the gap onto Pablo Lopez. So that's 3rd and 4th. We might get ourselves here a two-group battle for 5th and 6th and 3rd and 4th, while Ballester, that man is a machine right now. He's totally dominating Catalunya. It seems to be one of his favorite tracks.
Yeah, he's run away with it. It took him 5 laps to get there, but after a bad start, all credit to Wisniewski for getting such a great start. Borges is going to be kicking himself, though. He had 3rd place tied up. Really good start for him, but Lopez worked him down. The question is now, has he recovered enough? I assume he has. His mental strength will be back. Obviously, he got a little bit flustered, nearly lost 2 places to that error he made, and just made an error there. Unfortunately, that means he's not going to be able to catch Lopez. Just screwed up the corner. I think he put his toe in the gravel a little bit there.
Yeah, once again, you drop 1 or 2 tires, that can happen. But it's just impressive to see that Wisniewski is not really onto Ballester, but on the other hand, we have to keep in mind that Wisniewski might not want to push even more. He's qualified. If he just takes the 2nd position, he doesn't have to.
Yeah, I mean, he can just hold position now, so that's fine for him. So let's have a look down the field to see if anyone's really much closer. Polenko, as you said, on David Lopez, still just sitting behind him, has been close to putting a challenge in, hasn't really gone for it yet, though. Gonzalez obviously put that moving on Marzo. He's actually gaining on this pair now. That's down in 12th, 13th, and 14th, of course, way down the field. But it was Borges that was interesting, but now that he's kind of messed up, it's down to Carlos, I feel. Carlos is in 6th place, closing on Wisniewski as they come into the start-finish straight corner, into the 8th lap. He's got a lot closer, so Wisniewski's starting to make some errors here. Wisniewski, I should say.
Yeah, Wisniewski seems to be under pressure now by Carlos. You can clearly see him in the rearview mirror, and I'm pretty sure that beautiful car puts himself, like, full screen on it. And Wisniewski has to be aware of that. Like, look at this. We saw Carlos already looking onto the inside. He's knocking at the door of Wisniewski, telling him, like, mate, I'm here, and I want to pass you. I closed the gap, and I will make it happen. So how can Wisniewski stand up to that?
Yeah, the wonderful pink of Carlos. His Fedez Expo, trying to pile all over the back of him. Wisniewski. But this has been a battle that's gone on for the whole race so far. He hasn't really put a challenge in, so maybe he'll try and catch off Wisniewski by a bit of a surprise, but I don't think it's going to be too much of a surprise now because he's been hanging around there for a long time. Looking back towards, Polenko. Polenko's got off the track. He's in the gravel. He has, I think he was trying to put a move in on Lopez, but he has gone flying off the track. So that is a big error. That means Gonzalez obviously moves up to 13th, and he's all over Lopez as well. So maybe there was a collision between him and Lopez. I don't know, because Lopez is about to get done here. He's holding on, so he looks a little flustered. So there must have been some connection there. Gonzalez trying to go in the inside, not going to work out for him as he tries to move up. And that would be great for him to gain 2 places in 1 lap.
Yeah, it seems like Palenko just ran out of tarmac there. And mate, Seat is not yet in the WRC, so it's not the right place to put your car. This is a track car. Keep on the tarmac, you're faster, way faster there than being in the gravel, but now it's too late for him already, while Carlos still tries to find a way around Nikodem Wisniewski here. Borges, I mean, that gap is decreasing. We can't argue about that, but he's still not in attack range at all.
Yeah, Ray also down in 8th place is closing in on Montoya as well. He's been slowly closing the gap. Remember, Borges made that error last time around, which forced him to fall behind, trying to fight for that 3rd place. A lot of points up for grabs here. Carlos all over the back of Wisniewski as well. So a lot of battles. The question is anyone going to be able to put a move in? We're starting to run out of laps, aren't we? We're on the 9th lap already. Borges, again, getting a little look in the inside on Lopez there, but he hasn't got close enough to try and make a move just yet.
Yeah, it seems like everyone tries to close the gap now. Now we see how good people took care of their tires. I mean, tires are your friends on these cars. The front axle needs to do everything. Steering, braking, accelerating, keeping all the grip, and of course they use the rear slide to get a better angle, like attack angle onto the corner. And yeah, if you didn't treat them like good friends, then you might have to pay now.
And Gonzalez has got through on Lopez. Tero's about to go through. That's 12th place being traded. So Lopez seems to have completely lost his tires. I don't know. He really seems to be struggling on the corners now. So Gonzalez and Otero through on position there. Gonzalez going pretty wide there, actually. I guess he's taking a completely different angle to Otero and Lopez, but seems to keep his position. So he's managed to make his way through. The question is, can he get up to 10th? It's a long old gap between the two. It's a 9 seconds, so that's not going to happen in 2 laps.
That's true. Balestano up 3.1 second of a gap already. Lopez still more or less safe from Borges. But Carlos, he's not done yet with Wisniewski. He wants that position. I mean, the top 5 score in the first race, that's definitely how you want to start season.
Well, he's got a good position at the moment. He's got the inside line, just about holding it. He should be fine going down the main straight. Wisniewski's just more important. He didn't need to defend it. He's just trying to hold his line. Now, going to try and edge it in the inside. He's got a good drive coming out of this one, Carlos has. He might be able to have him, but he's going to have the outside line as we come into the next corner. He realizes it, tries to cut inside, but this time Wisniewski does go defensive, make sure he can't get past.
Yeah, it seems like Wisniewski wasn't really aware of that. I mean, he left the door open, basically like living in the US, you know, where all the movies where no one normally locks his door, and that was really, really close. Wisniewski going off the track a bit, sliding back onto the tarmac, and Carlos just clipping his rear bumper. Man, those bumpers are really expensive, I can tell you that. Don't crash into that.
Had to buy a few yourself in the past, have you? But
yeah.
Carlos still closing in him. Montoya and Ray actually have been holding a vigil, I feel, behind them. They've been close to each other, but never really challenged one another. They're kind of just watching this battle unfold and maybe hoping they can pick up some scraps from it, but it doesn't seem to be working out that way. Borges and Lopez, they're still holding ground as well, up in 3rd and 4th place. And of course, we should talk about Balesta. Balesta dominating this race now in the 11th lap, has finally put that taken over maneuver on around about the 5th lap, I think it was. And Christian, unfortunately, is just, well, like you say, he was hold position, probably lost a lot of tyre wear in that big defensive play here. Borges is not going to sling it in the inside on Lopez here, I don't think so, no. So just going to hold position. So Carlos, again, is all over the bumper of Wisniewski, though. Wisniewski. I'll get his name right one of these days.
We'll still learn, but yeah, I'm not sure yet if Borges is actually really trying to overtake Lopez. There's still a bit of a risk if you want to do it, but on the other hand, they're all racers. They want to have the best position. But both are struggling at the entry of most of the turns already with a lot of tire smoke and some understeer. So they can't really use the rear too much to get a bit of oversteer to get like 5 or 3 degrees into the turn because it's just too much.
Carlos almost sneaking on the inside there, very close. Wisniewski's going to have to be very defensive here. He tried to cut in the inside. This time Wisniewski's aware of it. He's trying to throw him a few feints left, a few feints right. This time it's very much a, I want to come on the inside of you. That was a pretty clear tell there, but it's not going to work out for him. Very tight racing with just, well, maybe just under a lap to go. So maybe we're going to see a move, like I say, trying to get in that top 5 on your first race in the semi-finals. Definitely what you want to do.
Interesting, maybe if we jump back to David Lopez, he's on 16th, and like I said, top 15 will qualify, and 14 and 15, that's Antonio Sanchez and Carlos Mazo, they're right up in front of him, and we can see that Lopez is on the edge. He's really living on the limit right now. He's trying to push his car to get back onto 15th position, while we lost Nicolas Hansen as the second DNF of the race.
So, Ballesta going through. Borges, Wisniewski will hold it. Carlos, I think, tried to sling a move in just towards the end there. Just tried to throw something out. But like you say, David Lopez doesn't look like he's going to get close enough, though, does it?
But Anthony Sanchez and Marta, they're still fighting. If they're not happy with that, they should just be happy where they are. Because if they do something wrong...
Yeah, Lopez is up there, but look at Palanca. Palanca's going to try and sneak it in the inside of the final corner. Lopez just shuts the door solidly, but he might still have the drive on the final straight. Palanca's going to do it. Whoa, that's not clean racing, ladies and gentlemen. But Palanca has managed to get through on Lopez. And Lopez, well, that is some pretty dirty finishing there.
I can tell you, race marshals will look like typical internet meme right now, because we all saw this move. We had it on our screens. That was one of the worst maneuvers I ever saw on a straight.
Yeah, just straight up ramming. Please don't pass me. Even managed to fishtail him and spin him round. But yeah, this isn't a police car chase. It does mean that Palanca goes through. He held the position regardless. I'm pretty sure he would have been given the position. But Lopez. But let's talk about Ballesta. What a race from him. Absolutely dominant stuff. Great start overall. And just fantastic driving by him. He was all over the bumper of Christian Krasniewski throughout it. He was the pole place. He had a poor start, but you've got to give him credit. He drove really well, kept his nerve, held his tyres.
Yeah, Ballesta definitely another good win over here. Krasniewski had that amazing start, but Ballesta just showed us his real skill and that he's still able to overcome a bad position. Second place, not really a bad position, but he lost pole and he got it back after a lot of work, a lot of fights, and a great defensive showcase here by Krasniewski. But this is it. This is done for the semi-final #1 here on the first event in Catalonia in Barcelona. So we have our first 15 that go through to the final tomorrow. And there is another race coming up today, and of course you will hear Demon on that one. Unfortunately, I can't make that, but we'll be back for the final.
I don't believe you will.
You don't believe what?
I don't believe you will hear me on that one.
I won't hear you on that. Well, that's true. Everyone out there will hear you on the second race, and I will be back for the final tomorrow. So don't miss us there. Stay tuned here at Cloud Sport. Check the YouTube, of course, and then we'll see you for semi-final #2, final #1. This is it. This is the Seat León Cupra Eurocup online. Check it out.